Welcome to the Be Yourself at Work cast for March 2024. I'm taking this opportunity on International Women's Day, the 8th of March, to interview my work wife and real life wife of many years, Liz Villani, and I wanted to understand how she does it all. So this is the opportunity to share how my exceptional wife is doing what she does. Liz, over to you.
That's very kind, thank you. We've both got coughs, so if we cough in this podcast, you'll have to excuse us. So happy International Women's Day. Jerome wanted to be part of the podcast, the Be Yourself at Work cast this month, and really kind of share his view as well on women in the workplace, and also sort of how men can really support us to be our best selves too. We came into this month's Be Yourself at Work cast asking a snapshot of 55 women about their experience of work. And there's some really good stuff that's come out of it. 80% say they're excited about their career going forwards. And I love this. 76% said they will definitely still work even if they don't have to. Work gives a sense of purpose. It also gives them confidence.
So, what motivates you? What keeps you going?
Well, I won't say you.
Thanks.
So I think that sense of purpose, what we do at Be Yourself at Work helps us to make a difference. And interestingly, that snapshot of these 55 women at work, it is work that gives them confidence. They all said that, there was a real sense of making a difference when they think about work. So I think what motivates me is that, but also I've always just really loved work. Work has always been something that has been an opportunity to be me. As a teenager, I found myself through work. I kind of hated school, had to be there. I was good at it, but actually it was being out, working in the restaurant, working with different types of people, training as a chef in the evenings, in between that kind of more structured experience of education and childhood, where I just found like I could be me.
So tell us about being authentic. How do you stay you?
Well, the first thing is you need to know who you are, but I would say that, we need to really understand what's us. And I think it's quite interesting doing this here with you because actually a lot of people look to other people to validate their authenticity. And I think in relationships, both in work and outside of work, we could almost kind of shift and compare, and start to kind of mold into a different character and personality. But I think actually the trick to being really authentic is to feel confident on the inside, but actually just really know who you are. I have real times, as you know, where I'll kind of just wobble, and think, especially in a scenario where the importance is really high, it might be a really important kind of meeting with a potential customer, or, I'll go and do work for the Department of Business and Trade, and, and it's a big audience, or I'm in a situation where I'm asked a question and I know that my answer is going to be controversial. Do I dress it up, or do I, stay me and say what I really think? And I've found that in those scenarios, the trick is to recognize that shift within yourself, within me. I now notice when I kind of have that inner wobble and think, okay, I need to be this, or I need to be that, or they might expect this, or they might expect that, and almost self-correct. And it's taken a long time, when I think about teens and early 20s, to kind of just go, no, I'm going to force myself to actually, be me and not worry about what people think about them. Because again, I'm going to come back to the snapshot of these 55 amazing women at work. The not so good stuff, only 53% said that they were happy in their workplace. So wow. It's crazy. Isn't that crazy? And I think women do rely on different things sometimes for their happiness than men. And I think there's a real tie for both men and women when it comes to authenticity. But, for 40% of these women to say that they're a different person at home to at work. I mean, wow. We live together, we work together.
Yes.
Are we different?
No.
In both places?
No, I don't think so.
No. Exactly. And yet 47% of these women change themselves to fit in at work.
Really?
It's crazy. Okay, it's an enormous amount of shift, that kind of chameleon effect, and it's actually, about not comparing yourself to others.
So, reading that report, I'm seeing that 58% are highly critical of themselves on the inside. How do you not do this?
Big question, and one I get asked all the time. And as an entrepreneur, if I didn't not do this, then I don't think that we would have a business like we have today. And there are some really important things that we can do on the inside of ourselves that will really help us in our careers, in our lives, in our happiness, to make a difference. We've quite frankly just got to stop being our own worst enemies. You'll potentially talk to yourself better, than most, because you're married to somebody who spends their life helping people to feel confident to be themselves at work. But actually, you have to choose not to be critical of yourself. You have to choose not to compare yourself to other people, and just compare yourself to you.
You don't compare yourself to others at all, ever?
I'd say I've trained myself to notice and be inspired by other people. So I think in the past, especially as a founder and as a CEO of a global movement, it's really easy to look at, potential competitors or, people that are perhaps more in a traditional career route. They don't have the stress and pressure of their own business. And I think in the past, I potentially would have compared myself to others and thought, I just want to escape, or that's not fair, or probably have a little bit of resentment as well about the amount of work that I have to do, and I have to make sure that we can pay everyone at the end of the month and, grow the business and that kind of stuff. And so I guess what I've managed to do is when I see somebody or another business or, achieve something incredible or do something that I wish I or we could have done, what I now do is I look at it and go, that's really interesting. If they can do that, imagine what we can do. Imagine what I can do. But it's taken, I think when you're young, it's almost impossible to think that way. I come from, as you know, quite a socially mobile background. Things weren't easy in my childhood. And so, I think sometimes when you've got that socially mobile background, you naturally feel on the back foot. And so you're more inclined to compare yourself to other people. But I forced myself, and I do every day, I think every day, and I don't think this is just about being a woman, from the work that we do at Be Yourself at Work with men as well. We're all highly critical of ourselves. The first Be Yourself at Work survey that we ran, over 70% of men said that they never have a positive inner conversation with themselves. Can you believe that stat? Does it feel right to you?
Guilty as charged, I think.
Yeah.
It is incredible that, you use others as a benchmark pretty much all the time. As a man, it's there in society all the time. But, this is International Women's Day, so I've got a question for you. What does the future hold for women at work?
Lots and lots. But we've got to believe in ourselves. We've got to let go of comparing ourselves to other people, that inner critic, inner procrastination. I often have this exercise I just share where I'll talk to people about the busyness that's in their inner negative heads, when you just, even if it's emotion as well, and it's a car park, it's really simple, it's a multi-story car park, and all your feelings and all of your thoughts are cars, okay? So if you imagine you've got 5 stories in this car park, and I don't know, 50 spaces on each floor. What happens if they're all moving at once?
Good question.
Complete gridlock. You can't think, you can't feel. It's literally, you're stuck. It's massively frustrating. You might get angry and, emotional and frustrated and waste loads of time and energy. It's exhausting. So the point is that we all potentially have all of this negativity that we feel out of control of on the inside of us. But actually what we need to do, and what we can do, is take back control of it. So park in that car park that's within you, all of your thoughts, all of your feelings, and recognize that you can choose to have certain thoughts and feelings at any moment active. And if a thought comes in that you don't want to feel or think, or a feeling is there that's making you feel bad, just park it and know that you can come back to it. So, I think there's things like that we can do that can really address, that inner critical us. And I think the future of work, we know 42% of these women said they didn't feel confident enough to be themselves at work. This has got to change. So we can talk about being us, and we can talk about women, having fantastic careers and everything else. But we've got to work on having that inner confidence to recognize that when we really step into who we are, we actually bring a gift to the world that they've been missing out on. People will miss out on Jerome and the impact that you have in your life if you're not being you. And it's the same with me, and it's the same with everyone listening to this podcast. And it's the same with all 55 of these women that we've shared their survey results of. So I think the future for women has got to be really bright. I think with the shifts in technology, the AI, the generative layering of tech and thought and analytics, and I think women, I don't like to pigeonhole, as you know, which is why we've got, I Am with Be Yourself at Work. But, women can be very, very, very critical of themselves. Less than men, we know from our research, but we do compare ourselves to other people. And we've got to start to really look to the future, be more entrepreneurial, really kind of recognize our strength and purpose, and actually see work as an opportunity to experience who we are and make a difference. Yes. And it's that, it's every day. You said to me earlier, how do you not do this? What motivates you? How do you keep going? And you've got to work on yourself, and you've got to recognize, the impact you have when something goes well. And just be you.
Thank you, Liz. That was a great interview and a real eye-opener for me. Even though I spent all my life at work and at home with you, there are things still that amazes me about what you go through and how you deal with it. For all women and non-women on this International Women's Day, I'd like to make sure that everybody has a thought of support and encourages other women in their lives to be themselves at work all the time. Thank you for listening.